I love retro games. One thing Nintendo always does is call back to their roots. It really started with the Virtual Console on the Wii, a huge collection of retro games that can be bought and experienced on new hardware without the need for cartridges and special controllers. That was crazy for the time. Although it was mostly Nintendo's catalog, they also had other retro games like from the TurboGrafx and the Sega Genesis. But that's emulation. Still the games as we knew them, but what about the original way of playing them? There's just something special about playing these games on the original hardware and not just on a modern console. That's what I always wanted to do as a kid. But retro games are expensive. When I was a little kid, I looked up Super Mario Land on Amazon because I really wanted the game, despite the fact that I didn't have a Game Boy. But yeah, I found a listing for, from what I remember, $1 million. So yeah, but eventually I bought a Super Nintendo clone system. Yeah, not an original. These are basically cheaper versions of older consoles, but most of the time they actually improve the problems the original console had. Stuff like region locking and aspect ratios, along with sometimes updated video outputs. The most common way of plugging these old consoles into your modern flat screen TV is through AV composite ports. Even if you aren't into this sort of thing, you've seen these red, white, and yellow plugs at some point in your life. They were used for most devices you used to plug into your TV until HDMI came. They're mostly a thing of the past nowadays though, and a hell of a lot of modern flat screens don't even have them anymore. But most do. And if you plug your console into it, it comes out not the greatest though. Yeah, you can really tell it wasn't made for these type of TVs. The image is all blown up, really exposing all the imperfections in the image. On Wii Virtual Console, it might look a little bit better because of the visual enhancements emulation brings, but yeah, still not the greatest. These games were meant to be played on an old box TV, or more specifically, a CRT TV. Yeah. These old TVs your family threw away a while ago, they're used for retro games. But to be honest, in my experience, these are super hard to find. Back when flat screens were becoming more common, you'd still find plenty of old CRTs out in the wild. Many people still use these TVs, although most were upgrading. What are you looking at? But then at some point in the late 2010s, it felt like everybody had upgraded to these new wide TVs. Now, CRTs were relegated to the dump or people's front yard, and maybe thrift stores. You can try to buy one on Amazon and eBay. Or not. These TVs were a thing of the past until people realized that not only were they great for old retro games, they're pretty nostalgic. Those were the reasons why I wanted one so badly. So every day I would scour Facebook Marketplace after school to see if I could find somebody giving away a decent CRT for free. And one day, I found exactly what I was looking for. This really nice old lady was giving hers away for free, and she didn't live too far. So we picked it up and took it home. And man, the difference between this TV and a flat screen TV when it comes to these old consoles, it's like night and day. Admittedly, when I got it, it was pretty dirty. Not super dirty, but it was old and had been in their basement for a long time. I had to clean it, and it was gross. But man, old games look so good on this TV. I cannot stress that enough. Many new re-releases of retro games have a CRT filter option built in, like the NES Classic Edition or Nintendo Switch Online, which try its best to replicate what playing on these TVs would look like. They add scan lines because that's a quirk of these TVs, and they make the pixels a little less sharp. They're actually not that bad, but you are still playing on an HD display. You cannot fool me, Nintendo. Old consoles like the NES and Super Nintendo look just phenomenal, along with the Sega Genesis. Unfortunately, while these TVs are great, they're not all sunshine and rainbows. They are huge. Well, okay, maybe it's my fault I went for a 27-inch, but it was free. I'd buy anything of somewhat value for free. Another thing, when you turn these TVs on, you might hear a loud, high-pitched noise in the background. That sound, in the most simplistic terms, is just the TV doing what it does. It sucks, but it's part of the CRT experience. But yeah, besides some little quirks there, would I recommend buying one of these old things? I'd say only if you have the space, because they do take up a lot of space. But yeah, thank you for watching the first episode of ZuriKey. Subscribe for more because I'm going to be doing more videos like this. And yeah, see y'all.